Hey, how you guys? I know everybody's well, I'm well, and today I'm going to be talking about raising children, a very wide subject. But this is Angie Morenga, and you're watching Just Angie, and welcome. Sit back, relax, and let's talk about children. You know, raising children is hard. It's not easy. But there's a few picture speaks that I've been releasing, and one of them was enjoy your children because they'll not always be with you, and you need to not miss the memo that they're growing up and one day they'll not be there with you. So the word of God says train up a child the way they will go and they will never depart from it. But it's also hard. So let's talk about different things and different seasons. I remember one habit that I love and I see it working my daughter until today is when she'd come home from school on a Friday, and she was really small. I think she was in kindergarten, KG1, KG2, and she'd have to do her homework on a Friday because we don't do homework on Saturday. We do homework today, then we free up the weekend. And it's amazing to see that pattern has continued for her. And she's doing her second master's now, her second year, her second master's. But it's continued, this pattern has continued with her where she does projects early, she hands them in early, and just for something that happened like a small habit, you know? So I think in raising children, I don't know where to start, but I want to talk about from the aspect of that your children are growing and that you have a very limited time with your children. So let's say from age 0 to age 18, that time is going to pass very fast. And then also I think statistics and research has shown that the first 6 years of a child's life are very important. What you put in there is important, and I'm being reminded that even the word of God, Jesus in his time, they'd be taught the Torah first at home before they go to school. So the first 6 years is where you form behavior, where you really input everything that you have into your child, and that's very, very important. And then now, of course, getting up to the teenagehood, and then also now becoming a young adult. And like for me and my daughter, that's where we are, where she thinks I'm just being a pain and she thinks I'm just a headache. We're both very strong personalities, so it's a place of where we're letting go, you know. She's a young woman now, and she's got her own mind, and I have to trust that I've raised her well and I've put everything that I can. But even as I say that, I don't think there's there's no parent that's perfect. You know, we're all trying to do this. There's more resources that we have now, or parents have access to now than they had before, where you can read things and do research and do parenting classes. When we were raising children, I don't think they were. And when our parents were raising us, they were not. But let me just also talk to something that comes to mind. I think we and I'm also a victim of this, and something that I'm working on. But you know, because of, I think what we felt was a hard childhood, we've become very soft on our children, you know? Like we don't want them to really go through the hard things that we think that we went through, but we forget those hard things made us. They made us who we are today, you know? And I think another challenge is that we're friends with our children, but we have to understand where are we going to be friends and where do we draw the line, and then the parent checks in, either mom and dad checks in, and we're not too over-friendly. So that's another one as well. The other one, I think, for this season and our generation and this time is that we're not spending enough time with our children. We really must. And I remember, I think during the teenage years of Althea's life, I would be very, very hard, and I had rules like people had to come to our house. I really didn't want them to have to go to other people's house. So I made our house, and I tell people, make your house the center of activity, you know? If it's a game or whatever, or if it's a game that's needed, make that be the center place so that you can see the other children coming. But I used to wonder why the children would come. And it's because I was strict, I had order, I had discipline in place. And then I realized, it was so shocking to realize that actually children love that. They love some order, somebody who's giving them order. You know, just don't leave them with a driver and money and they can do what they want. They want somebody who's going to give direction, somebody who's saying, no, you can't do this, you're overstepping this boundary, you can't behave this way. So they would love coming home because there they would be, you know, I'm speaking, I'm saying, don't do this. Of course, my daughter is rolling her eyes, which like your children will be. And they're like, don't embarrass me. But, you know, you've got to guide people. And even the other day I was laughing at her. And then some of her friends came home and then they sat, we talked about all sorts of stuff, you know, and sometimes your children don't want you to engage with their friends. But me, I love engaging with them and I love talking to people, and I have this kind of personality where people are attracted to the things that I need to say. So that's good. So we can have conversations, and I don't try to pretend, you know, but understand every stage and every season that the child is going through. Also, we need to input and be there for them. So I think you need to weigh between maybe staying late at work and going home to spend time with the kids, do your homework, spend time with them on a Saturday, and really spend time. Because a lot of people these days, we spend time on the phone, we spend time we're together, but we're not together, Everybody's on their phone or their gadget. The other day I went to a retreat and people were saying that maybe we need to make our homes a no-go area for phones and for gadgets and for social media. So when we get into the house, that's it. I'm sure that's going to be a hard one. But, you could practice. So you could even start with once a week, no gadgets, no social media. You enter the house, you put off everything and you engage, because it's like we're present but not present, And we need to be present. We need to understand what's going on with our children. The other day also, I'm telling you many stories. I walked into a bookshop and the person was, I don't know why we started engaging. Then I told him I'm a pastor. He said, come and show you what children are buying these days. He brought me some magazines about Satan. I was like, guy, what is this? He said, yeah. And he said some of them are even buying books, which are very, very demonic, and their parents come and buy them, buy a series of like 10 books. And now you don't even understand the changes your child is going through. They engage in this demonic book. They are locked up in their room. Probably you think they're giving you peace, but you don't know what's going on with your child. So you have to, so he was telling me, you people are not praying enough. You are ministers of God, you're not praying enough. People are just coming here buying things for their children and you're not even conscious. I was like, hey, he gave me a musoma. I was like, it's not my child who came to buy. But anyway, be conscious. What are your children reading? What are they watching? Who are they engaging with? Who are their friends? Be there in the life of this child, And it doesn't matter how hard and it doesn't matter how much they try to get you out of their lives. It's important to engage and engage fully. Know who their friends are. Get to hang out with their friends. Make your home the center of activity and make it positive, So I remember I wanted to get Althea a passport, and I did, and I was, she was, I think, on one of our passports, but I wanted her to have her own passport, so I got her a passport. And then the first person to use the passport was her dad. I wasn't very excited about that story. And then I went to my mom, because I was like, okay, now we cannot give this child with a passport. My mom told me that's his daughter, it's his child. That's not the answer I was expecting. I was waiting to say, never ever. Airport, we can enter airport, go anywhere, destination, never to be seen again. But no, so learn to do things like that. So she's always had a relationship with her dad. She hangs out with him, they engage, they go on holiday together, because that's her parent. I am her parent as well, but I don't have more rights to her, which is something that I don't know why we think than her father has. So give your children access to both parents. If you're in a complicated situation, let them interact with both parents, let them engage, and keep your feelings and issues out of it as well. And there's another one. I say I can only give examples with my daughter. Unfortunately, she's only one, but also showing them how to engage with adults at all times, never disrespecting any adult, no matter what the situation is. You must teach your children to respect every single adult, every single human being, even if it's in a complicated situation. And I'm sure some of you know what I'm saying. Even if it's they have to engage and respect and honor leaders. Maybe that's why I was saying in an earlier video, where people get to the place where you can abuse your leader or your president. It's crazy. We can't get there. We have to understand authority. And I think I also said we were so, I guess it was so ingrained in us who our parents were, we were afraid of them, but that fear helped us, because even when we were away from them, we kept thinking, what would they say? What would they do? Would they approve of this? It had been something that had been ingrained in us. And I don't know why I also say this, that we really must allow our children to engage in hard activities. I remember once engaging with somebody, and they were telling me that the reason our parents, after colonialism, were very successful in the things that they did, including even maybe education overseas, was because they did so many things at home. You had to wake up, you're the one who lit the fire, cook the porridge for the children, go and get the feed for the animals. I mean, before you went to school, you had done quite a number of things. So they became people who were able to multitask and do many things, and almost what we would call suffering now. They were able to do it. They were able to handle everything. Maybe they had been told you cannot go to school unless you do X, Y, Z. So they would make sure they do X, Y, Z and then go to school. And then even school was not near, but they had this passion. They engaged, they got up and they went and they did what they needed to do, and it made them great leaders, and were able to be diverse and be able to multitask and do many things and engage in life. I mean, I think they thought this is such an easy life, compared to the life that I had been living. So I think that's what I'm going to say about your children. Please remember that they're going to grow up. Be kind, be considerate. Let them grow up. If you're like me, in a place where the child is now, they're now a young adult, let them go and just ensure that you've given them all the tools to succeed in life. And I think the final one, this one always makes me laugh. Every time like my daughter was going away to school, because she didn't go to school here, she went to school abroad, is we had to anoint her head with oil. We didn't care. She was like, my weave. We're like, weave, kneel down. we pour oil on the head, pray every prayer, because prayers are also very important. There's power in being a praying parent. Every time I see a testimony or something on, like, maybe TBN, they'll always say, my mother was a praying mom, my mother prayed. We as mothers, we have to engage in prayer for our children. And then even when they're older, anoint the head to feel nothing, anoint the head, pray hard, and keep praying. Keep praying, because prayer is powerful and it can turn situations and turn the tide. And sometimes I think I'm in a stage where we don't have to speak a lot, because if we speak, something gets lost in our long speeches. But it's important for us to pray, and to pray for your children. So I pray that you're not going through a difficult time. I pray that has helped you, and I pray that you remember you have a short window of opportunity with your children. So enjoy it, make the most out of it, give them all the tools they need, so that when they engage as adults, they can be better citizens of this nation, and that you also model the right behavior, because that's another thing. We cannot preach water and drink wine. Whatever you're speaking, you need to be also able to support it by your actions. So, gosh, that's a lot. I've really said a lot, but that's raising your children. Please send in your questions, your comments, your views. Let's interact, let's engage. And thank you so much for listening to me. Remember to engage, to change, and to lead the way that God is calling you to lead. You're watching Just Angie, and my name is Angie Morenga. Looking forward to engaging with you further. Bye.